A View from the Bridge, a play by Arthur Miller, read for you by Weirdo Fries. Act 2. On December 27th, I saw him next. I normally go home well before 6, but that day, I sat around looking out my window at the bay, and when I saw him walking through the doorway, I knew why I had waited. And if I seem to tell this like a dream, it was that way. Several moments arrived in the course of the 2 talks we had when it occurred to me how, almost transfixed, I had come to feel I had lost my strength somewhere. Eddie enters, removing his cap, sits in the chair, looks thoughtfully out. I looked in his eyes more than I listened. In fact, I can hardly remember the conversation, but I will never forget how dark the room became when he looked at me. His eyes were like tunnels. I kept wanting to call the police, but nothing had happened. Nothing at all had really happened. He breaks off and looks down at the desk. Then he turns to Eddie. So in other words, he won't leave. My wife is talking about renting a room upstairs for them. An old lady on the top floor's got an empty room. What does Marco say? He just sits there. Marco don't say much. I guess they didn't tell him, eh? What happened? I don't know. Marco don't say much. What does your wife say? Eddie, I'm willing to pursue this. Nobody's talking much in the house. So what about that? But you didn't prove anything about him. It sounds like he just wasn't strong enough to break your grip. I'm telling you, I know he ain't right. Somebody that don't want it can break it. Even a mouse. If you catch a teeny mouse and you hold it in your hand, that mouse can give you the right kind of fight. He didn't give me the right kind of fight. I know it, Mr. Alfieri. The guy ain't right. What did you do that for, Eddie? To show her what he is, so she would see once and for all. Her mother will turn over in her grave. He gathers himself almost prematurely. So what do I gotta do now? Tell me, what do I do? She's actually said she's marrying him. She told me. Yeah. So what do I do? Slight pause. This is my last word, Eddie. Take it or not, that's your business. Morally and legally, you have no rights. You cannot stop it. She is a free agent. Eddie angry. Didn't you hear what I told you? Alfieri with a tougher tone. I heard what you told me. And I'm telling you what the answer is. I'm not only telling you now, I am warning you. The law is nature. The law is only a word for what has a right to happen. When the law is wrong, it's because it's unnatural. But in this case, it is natural. And the river will drown you if you buck it down. Let her go. And bless her. A phone booth begins to glow in the opposite side of the stage, a faint, lonely blue. Eddie stands up, jaws clenched. Somebody had to come for her, Eddie. Sooner or later. Eddie starts turning to go, and Alfieri rises with a new anxiety. You won't have a friend in the world, Eddie. Even those who understand will turn against you. Even the ones who feel the same will despise you. Eddie moves off. Put it out of your mind, Eddie! He follows into the darkness, calling desperately. Eddie is gone. The phone is glowing in light now. Light is out on Alfieri. Eddie has at the same time appeared beside the phone. Give me the number of the Immigration Bureau. Thanks. He dials. I want to report something. Illegal immigrants. 2 of them. That's right. 441 Saxon Street, Brooklyn. Yeah. Ground floor. Eh? With greater difficulty. I'm just around the neighborhood. That's all. Eh? Evidently, he's being questioned further, and he slowly hangs up. He leaves the phone just as Louis and Mike's comes down the street. Go bowling, Eddie? No, I'm due home. Well, take it easy. I'll see yous. They leave him, exiting right, and he watches them go. He glances about, then goes up into the house. The lights go in on the apartment. Beatrice is taking down Christmas decorations and packing them in a box. Where is everybody? Beatrice does not answer. I says, where's everybody? Beatrice looking up at him, wearied with it, and concealing a fear of him. I decided to move them upstairs with Mrs. Dondero. Oh. They're all moved up there already? Yeah. Where's Catherine? She's up there? Only to bring pillowcases. She ain't moving in with them. Look, I am sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it, Eddie. All right, take it easy. I don't want to hear no more about it, you understand? Nothing. What are you blowing up about? We brought them in here. All right, I'm sorry. I wish I dropped dead before I told them to come here. In the ground I wish I was. Don't drop that. Just keep in mind who brought them in here, that's all. He moves about restlessly. I got a couple of rights here. He moves, wanting to beat down her evident disapproval of him. This is my house here, not their house. What do you want from me? They're moved out. What do you want now? I want my respect. So I moved them out. What more do you want? You got your house now. You got your respect. He moves about, biting his lip. I don't like the way you talk to me, Beatrice. I'm just telling you, I done what you want. I don't like it. The way you talk to me and the way you look at me. This is my house, and she's my niece, and I'm responsible for her. So that's why you done that to him? And done what to him? What you done to him in front of her. You know what I'm talking about. She goes around shaking all the time. She can't go to sleep. That's what you call responsible for her? Eddie quietly. The guy ain't right, Beatrice. She's silent. Did you hear what I said? Look. I'm finished with it. That's all. She resumes with her work. Eddie helping her pack the tinsel. I'm gonna have it out with you one of these days, Beatrice. Nothing to have out with me. It's all settled. Now we gotta be like it never happened. That's all. I want my respect, Beatrice. And you know what I'm talking about. What? Pause. Eddie, finally, his resolution hardens. What I feel like doing in the bed and what I don't feel like doing. I don't want no... When did I say anything about that? You said what you said. I ain't deaf. I don't want no more conversations about that, Beatrice. I do what I like doing or what I don't feel like doing. Okay. Pause. You used to be different, Beatrice. You got a whole different way. I'm no different. You didn't used to jump me all the time about everything. The last year or two, I come in the house, I don't know what's gonna hit me. It's a shooting gallery in here, and I'm the pigeon. Okay. Don't tell me okay. I'm telling you the truth. A wife is supposed to believe the husband. If I tell you that guy ain't right, don't tell me he's right. But how do you know? Because I know. I don't go around making accusations. He gave me the heebie-jeebies the first time I seen him. And I don't like you saying I don't want her marrying anybody. I broke my back paying her stenography lessons so she could go out and meet her better class of people. Would I do that if I didn't want her to get married? Sometimes you talk like I was a crazy man or something. But she likes him. Beatrice, she's a baby. How is she gonna know what she likes? Well, You kept her a baby. You wouldn't let her go out. I told you hundreds of times. Pause. All right. Let her go out then. She don't want to go out now. It's too late, Eddie. Pause. Suppose I told her to go out. Suppose they're going to get married next week, Eddie. Eddie, his head jerks around her. She said that? Eddie, if you want my advice, go to her and tell her good luck. I think maybe now that you had it out, you learn better. What's the hurry next week? Well, she's been worried about him being picked up. This way he could start to be a citizen. She loves him, Eddie. He gets up, moves about uneasily, restlessly. Why don't you give her a good word? Because I still think she would like you to be a friend. You know? He's standing looking at the floor. I mean, like, if you told her you'd go to the wedding, she asked you that? I know she would like it. I'd like to make a party for her. Here. I mean, there ought to be some kind of send-off, eh? I mean, she'll have trouble enough in her life. Let's start it off happy. What do you say? Because in her heart, she still loves you, Eddie. I know it. He presses his fingers against his eyes. Oh, why are you crying? She goes to him, holds his face. Go. Why don't you go tell her you're sorry? Catherine is seen on the upper landing of the stairway, and they hear her descending. There, she's coming down. Come on. Shake hands with her. Eddie, moving with suppressed suddenness. No, I can't. I can't talk to her. Eddie, give her a break. A wedding should be happy. I'm going for a walk. He goes upstage for his jacket. Catherine enters and starts for the bedroom door. Katie! Eddie, don't go. Wait a minute. She embraces Eddie's arm with warmth. Ask him, Katie. Come on, honey. It's all right. He starts to go and she holds him. No, she wants to ask you. Come on, Katie. Ask him. We'll have a party. What are we gonna do? Hate each other? Come on. I'm going to get married, Eddie. So, if you want to come, the wedding will be on Saturday. Pause. Okay. I only wanted the best for you, Katie. I hope you know that. Okay. She starts out again. Catherine, she turns to him. I was just telling Beatrice, if you want to go out, I realized maybe I kept you home too much because he's the first guy you ever knew, you know? I mean, now that you got a job, you might meet some fellas and you get a different idea, you know? I mean, you could always come back to him. You're still only kids, both of yous. What's the hurry? Maybe you'll get around a little bit. Grow up a little bit more. Maybe you'll see different in a couple of months. I mean, you'll be surprised. It don't have to be him. No. We made it up already. Eddie with increasing anxiety. Katie, wait a minute. No. I made up my mind. But you never know. You never knew no other fella, Katie. How could you make up your mind? 'Cause I did. I don't want nobody else. But Katie, suppose he gets picked up. That's why we're going to do it the right way. Soon as we finish the wedding, he's going right over and start to be a citizen. I made up my mind, Eddie. I'm sorry. To Beatrice, could I take 2 more pillowcases for the other guys? Sure, go ahead. Only don't let her forget where they came from. goes into the bedroom. Catherine goes into the bedroom. She's got other boarders up there? Yeah. There's 2 guys that just came over. What do you mean came over? From Italy. Alfieri, the butcher, his nephew. They came from Bari. They just got here yesterday. I didn't even know until Marco and Rodolfo moved up there before. Catherine enters, going towards the exit with 2 pillowcases. It'll be nice. They could all talk together. Catherine! She halts near the X door. He takes in Beatrice too. What are you? Got no brains? You pooped the mother with 2 other submarines? Why? Eddie, in a driving fight in anger. Why? How do you know they're not tracking these guys? They'll come up for them and find Marco and Rodolfo. Get them out of the house! But they've been here so long already. How do you know what enemies Alfieri's got? Which they'd love to stab him in the back. Well, what'll I do with them? The neighborhood is full of rooms. Can't you stand to live a couple of blocks away from him? Get them out of the house? Well, maybe tomorrow night No, not tomorrow. Do it now, Catherine. You never mix yourself with somebody else's family. These guys get picked up, Alfieri's liable to blame you or me, and we got his whole family on our head. They gotta tamper that family. 2 men in overcoats appear outside, into the house. How am I gonna find a place tonight? Will you stop arguing with me and get them out? You think I'm always trying to fool you or something? What's the matter with you? Don't you believe I could think of your good? Huh, did I ever ask something for myself? You think I got no feelings? I never told you nothing in my life that wasn't for your good. Nothing. And look at the way you talk to me. Like I was an enemy. I knock on the door. His head swerves. They all stand motionless. Another knock. Eddie in a whisper pointing upstage. Go up the fire escape. Get them out over the back fence. Catherine stands motionless, uncomprehending. First officer in the hall. Immigration, open up in there. Go on, hurry up. She stands a moment staring at him in a realized horror. Well, what are you looking at? Open up! Eddie calling towards the door. Who's that there? Immigration, open up! Eddie turns, looks at Beatrice. She sits. Then he looks at Catherine. With a sob of fury, Catherine streaks into the bedroom. Knock is repeated. All right, take it easy. He goes and opens the door. The officer steps inside. What's all this? Where are they? Second officer sweeps past, glancing about, goes into the kitchen. Come on, where are they? He hurries into the bedrooms. Who? We got nobody here. He looks at Beatrice, who turns her head away. Pugnaciously, furiously, he steps towards Beatrice. What's the matter with you? First officer enters from the bedroom, calls into the kitchen. Dominic? Enters second officer from kitchen. Maybe it's a different apartment. There's only 2 more floors up here. I'll take the front. You go up the fire escape. I'll let you in. Watch your step up there. Okay. Right. Charlie. First officer goes out apartment door and runs up the stairs. This is 4041, isn't it? That's right. Second officer goes out into the kitchen. Eddie turns to Beatrice. She looks at him now and sees his terror. Beatrice weakened with fear. Oh, Jesus, Eddie. What's the matter with you? Beatrice pressing her palms against her face. Oh, my God. What are you accusing me? Beatrice, her final thrust is turned towards him instead of running from him. My God, what did you do? Many steps on the outer stair draw his attention. We see the first officer descending with Marco, behind them Rodolfo and Catherine, and the 2 strange immigrants followed by the second officer. Beatrice hurries to the door. Catherine backing downstairs, fighting with first officer as they appear on the stairs. What do you want from them? They work, that's all. They're boarders upstairs. They work on the piers. Beatrice to first officer. Ah, mister, what do you want from them? Who did they hurt? Catherine pointing to Rodolfo. They ain't no submarines. He was born in Philadelphia. Step aside, lady. What do you mean? What you can't just come in a house and... All right, take it easy. To Rodolfo. What street were you born in Philadelphia? What do you mean, what street? Could you tell me what street you were born in? Sure, 4 blocks away. 111 Union Street. Let's go, fellas. Catherine fending him off Rodolfo. No, you can't! Now, get out of here! Look, girlie, if they're all right, they'll be out tomorrow. If they're illegal, they'll go back where they came from. If you want, get yourself a lawyer. Although I'm telling you now, you're wasting your money. Let's get him into the car, Dom, to the men. Andiamo, let's go. The men start, but Marco hands back. Beatrice from doorway. Who are they hurting, for God's sake? What do you want from them? They're starving over there. What do you want? Marco! Marco suddenly breaks from the group and dashes into the room and faces Eddie. Beatrice and the first officer rush in as Marco spits into Eddie's face. Catherine runs into the hallway and throws herself into Rodolfo's arms. Eddie, with an enraged cry, lunges for Marco. Oh, your mother's... First officer quickly intercedes and pushes Eddie from Marco, who stands there accusingly. First officer, between them, pushing Eddie from Rodolfo. Cut it out! Eddie over the first officer's shoulder to Marco. I'll kill you for that, you son of a... Hey! Shakes him. Stay in here now! Don't come out! Don't bother him! Hear me? Don't come out, fella! For an instant there's silence. Then first officer turns and takes Marco's arm, and then gives a last informative look at Eddie. As he and Marco are going out into the hall, Eddie raps, I don't forget that, Marco. You hear what I'm saying? Out in the hall, first officer and Marco go downstairs. Now in the street, Louis, Mike, and several neighbors, including the butcher, Lepari, and stout, intense, middle-aged man, are gathering around the stoop. Lepari, the butcher, walks over the 2 strange men and kisses them. His wife, kneeling, goes and kisses their hands. Eddie is emerging from the house, shouting after Marco. Beatrice is trying to restrain him. That's the thanks I get, which I took the blankets off my bed for yous. You're gonna apologize to me, Marco. Marco! First officer in the doorway with Marco. All right, lady. Let them go. Get in the car, fellas. It's right over there. Rodolfo is almost carrying the sobbing Catherine off up the street. Left. He was born in Philadelphia. What do you want from him? Step aside, lady. Come on now. The second officer has moved off with the 2 strange men. Marco, taking advantage of the first officer's being occupied with Catherine, suddenly frees himself and points back at Eddie. That one. I accuse that one. Eddie brushes Beatrice aside and rushes out to the stoop. First officer grabbing him and moving him quickly off up the left street. Come on! Marco, as he's taken off, pointing back at Eddie. That one. He killed my children. That one stole the food from my children. Marco is gone. The crowd has turned to Eddie. Eddie to Lepari and his wife. He's crazy. I gave them blankets off my bed. 6 months I kept them like they're my own brothers. Lepari the butcher turns and starts up left with his arm around his wife. Lepari! He follows Lepari up left. For Christ's sake, I kept them. I give them the blankets off my bed. Lepari and wife exit. Eddie turns and starts crossing down right to Louis and Mike. Louis! Louis! Louis barely turns, then walks off and exits down right with Mike. Only Beatrice is left on the stoop. Catherine now returns, blank-eyed, from off stage in the car. Eddie calls up to Louis and Mike. He's gonna take that back. He's gonna take that back, or I'll kill him. You hear me? I'll kill him. I'll kill him. He exits up street, calling. There is a pause of darkness before the light rises.